once someone gives you an opportunity to speak, you should get the job. The difficulty is on, applying, getting the right CV, just all that other process. That is difficult. But once you get to the interview stage, you need to get it, because they have given you a platform to show them what you're made of. So, even if you are not really sure about whether you want the job or not, what's the worst that could happen? You can always then, just get the job, get the offer, and then you're like, this is not what I'm looking for at the moment. But when it comes to an interview and the interview process, you can just give it all that you have. Hi guys, if you're new to my channel and you see my face for the very first time, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure that you subscribe for more, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I just want to thank you all for subscribing. When I made my last video, I did not think that a few days later I would have reached 400 subscribers, so I just want to thank you all for your support, and keep them coming. So today I'm going to be talking about my journey from Zim to the UK. But today I'm just basically going to tell you the story from what was going on in my mind, what I wanted, application processes, CVs, and all that thing. So guys, this is the place to be if you just want to know about how to be a CA. If you're just a young person who wants inspiration, who wants motivation, I'm here for you. So let's get right into it. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is basically, why I wanted to leave the country. And I think I have summarized this a bit from when I was talking about why I chose London. I have videos about that. I'm going to put them in the description box. But basically, once I finished my training, I wanted to, expand in terms of my knowledge. I wanted to earn more money. I wanted to, see the world. So initially I actually wanted to go to South Africa because that's where my parents are, and I wanted to be home, but it was quite a challenge to get a job there, especially without the right to work there. So it was actually my mom's idea. She then told me, you know what, I think you can try expanding your horizons. I think you're putting yourself in a box, which is a lesson that I'll give a lot of you guys. Sometimes you probably want to go somewhere and your heart is set on that, or you're set on a certain path or trajectory, but then you never know what life has in store for you. So you can just take opportunities as they come, assess opportunities as they come. Don't be hell-bent on doing certain things or going to certain places, but assess things as they come. So from then, after my mom told me to expand my horizon, I then decided to shortlist 6 countries that I wanted to go to. So there was the UK, Australia, Canada, the US, and which was the other one? Dubai. Yes, I wanted to Dubai as a country, but yes, places I wanted to go to. So Dubai and South Africa was still there. So once I knew where I thought I wanted to go, I decided to start my application processes. But before you apply, remember, you always have to have a CV. So I had a basic, nice CV template with just dated, the brief introduction, the personal information, academic qualifications, and then experiences and other skills. So for here, what I'll just give you in terms of advice when it comes to your CV is try and map your CV to the job description. So for example, if you're applying for an audit senior or an audit assistant manager role, and the CV is talking about whether you've done budgets, whether you've done audit committee preparation documents, whether you've supervised teams or something like that, look at that and map it against your CV, so that it can actually stand out and speak to what people are looking for. Because depending on the vacancy, on the firm, some firms will probably maybe require more in terms of maybe you have prepared financials, or you've reviewed more financials, you've done certain technical things, so they may be focused on certain things. And so you just need to tailor your CV to the vacancy. That's what I would advise you for the CV. So we can move on to how I did my applications. one other thing on the CV is you can try have someone else review your CV so that you can ensure that it is, you know, up to standard, because sometimes when you're the one who's responsible for preparing something, you might then also make some mistakes. So I'll move on to the application process. When I started applying for a job, I wasn't a fully qualified CA as yet. I hadn't passed my final APC exam. So that meant it sort of like restricted my opportunities, because a lot of firms, especially the bigger ones, want fully qualified CAs. So I had to send out a lot of CVs. So the restrictions, you know, they came, limitations rather, that I had, where I was not yet qualified, and also there was the lockdown, and a lot of countries were not taking immigrants, and also there are just some countries that would rather have you with the right to work, right to work there. So those were some of the limitations that I had, which you might have as well. So for that, I think what I would advise you to do is maybe to just make use of your network and your circles to see the firms that will be currently recruiting and the countries where there's recruitment. For example, from just asking around, I've heard that a lot of firms in the UK are currently recruiting, and there are also firms in the UAE, you know, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they're also getting people. So once you do that, it also then just, you know, reduces the number of regrets you have, and at least you'll be, you know, spending your efforts towards, you know, like firms that are actually taking people. So yeah, that was my application process. I sent lots of applications, and in terms of timing, I started applying around April, May, because you can start earlier, because they're like people who, you know, start maybe somewhere around June. There's a September, October intake, and then there's the January one. So the earlier you start, you know, the earlier that you can also then secure the job. So I think that's essentially it when it comes to application. Okay, in terms of the sites that I used, I mainly went to the career sites. So remember, I had actually had a short list of countries that I was interested in, and then I would look for specific firms in those countries. For example, if you want to go to a big 4 firm, then you're going to go to the, maybe for example, if it's EY that you want, you're going to go to the EY UK website, and then you're going to search for the vacancies for which you probably qualify for, and then once you do that, you say you actually then you can apply directly on their website. You can also apply through LinkedIn, and you can also use other vacancy job search websites like Indeed, Glassdoor, and yeah, basically you can use those as well. And if you're qualified, maybe you can also use Gap placements. There are other recruiters out there. I might not really be aware of all of them, but I'm sure of Gap. So yeah, those are other ways that you can use to apply. I think that's it on the application, guys. If there's something that I missed out that you want, because I think some of these questions, some of these things that I'm saying are from the questions that I got from people through LinkedIn. And on that note, guys, don't hesitate to ask me if you've got any, you know, questions around the type of content that I bring out to you. You can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, so I will move on to the interview process. After applying and getting lots of regrets, and you know, just thinking, okay, I might as well give up on this, I then got a response in August, like a response from the firm that I'm currently at, and then we scheduled an interview. We had 2 interviews. One was with senior, it was all with people who are in audit. One was with senior management, and the other one was with a partner. It then just depends with the firm, and interview formats are different. But what I would say is, in terms of detail on how to prepare for interviews, I have a separate video that I did earlier on that, and I'm going to link it in the description box. Here I would just say, once you get to the interview stage, you're supposed to ace it. My dad always says that once someone gives you an opportunity to speak, you should get the job. The difficulty is on, you know, applying, getting the right CV, you know, just all that other process. That is difficult. But once you get to the interview stage, you need to get it, because they have given you a platform to show them what you're made of. So, you know, even if you are not really sure about whether you want the job or not, what's the worst that would happen? You can always then, you know, just get the job, get the offer, and then you're like, this is not what I'm looking for at the moment. But when it comes to an interview and the interview process, you can just give it all that you have. So like it went for like 2 weeks, and then yeah, I got the job. So the next thing is immigration processes. So during the interview, they'd already told me that they would sponsor me and asked me if I had any beneficiaries. Yes, I do not have any beneficiaries. Anyway, so so they said they would sponsor me, and then but I'll take care of the ticket and the accommodation. Yeah. So now there are other things, like before the visa, for you to then get the visa, obviously you need your passport, and then you need to, but before you then actually initiate the process, you need to have a TB test. So for the TB test, it was $165 when I did it. You paid cash deposit into Standard Chartered Bank, and then the second thing, so the TB test, it is semi-instant. Like you go in the morning and then in the afternoon you get your certificate, but you can get it the next day if you, for some reason, you're in a rush. I was staying in town at that moment, so I could like easily go to Belgravia, get the test done, and then go back later. So when you go to get the test done, is there anything else that you need? They tell you to bring pictures, but they take pictures, but then they always tell you to bring pictures just in the event that their machine is not working. So you should just get your things in order. So yeah, after the TB test, there's the English test. So there's an option that you will write the tests. I think they are the IELTS, and the other option is if you can prove that your degree was taught in English, it can be assessed. So what you need is a confirmation letter to stating that your degree was taught in English. So what I did was I emailed UNISA, various emails. Like if you go on the UNISA admin pages, there are quite a number of emails. So what I did, I just sent lots of emails so that at least someone would respond. And actually someone responded the next day. I got the letter. And then so you apply online, and what you just need is the letter from the university, the degree certificate, and the transcript. So once you send, you pay I think I paid $140 or pounds, I'm not sure. Yeah, but I think it's 140 US. So yeah, I paid the 140, and then there's also paying for it to be shipped, because you get a hard copy. So if you don't have money like I didn't, I think I paid like £10 more for it to come by post, but it takes time. It took like 30 days. So I was starting work in January, and I had got the job like around in August, September. So I had time for the letter to be shipped back. But if you're in a rush, you'd rather use DHL, because yeah, it gave me headaches. I couldn't track it at some point. So if you have money, I would advise that you use DHL. It takes like about 10 days for them to do the assessment, and then like 5 days to get it shipped here. So that's all it for the pre-visa requirements. And then once you have those, you can actually apply for your visa. I had an immigration officer from the firm, so that it made it really easier in terms of what I needed. But don't be scared to ask other people. Don't be scared to actually search, because the UK website is actually very clear when it comes to things that you might need. You need to clarify and all that. So yeah, that was the visa process. After like everything was now in order, I went with my documents to the visa offices, and yeah, I then left them there. The visa takes about 10 to 15 days, but the maximum is 15 days. By the 15th day, I was out, got my visa, and yeah, I was all set to go to the UK. The visa, I then had to start the preparation to actually come here. So the ticket, it's always more advisable to buy it earlier. The earlier the better. I bought an Ethiopian Airways ticket, going via, what's the Addis Ababa, yes. And then had to take a COVID test the day before, so I took it with pathology laboratories. There are many other laboratories that you can take in Zimbabwe particularly, but I would just always advise to use reputable labs, because the last thing that you want is, you know, to have issues because of that. And then there's the contact form for tracing. You need to fill that in. And then in terms of what I picked, I didn't have money, so there are certain things that probably would have wanted that I didn't pick. But my advice would be, in terms of clothes, don't carry too many, because you probably will not wear them when you get here. If these shops are open, you can actually buy new clothes, and clothes are not that expensive here. So you just need maybe, let's just say, a full week of clothes, but pack warm stuff. And if you feel like right now it's a bit warm, but it's maybe a dress or two, so pack some really warm things. And then you need to have like, if there are same products that you really love, that you feel like you really miss, you can carry them. Things like maybe Cerevita, or yeah, just Matimba, something like that. But there's some things that can be found here. I think later I'm going to show you some things that you can, I have a video about things that I found here, and I'm going to show you the shop later in my videos, so, you know, watch the space. But yeah, you can do that as well. And what else, guys, do you need? I think that essentially I came with one bag, and it was enough for me. So guys, that's essentially is the process. And in terms of yeah, guys, I then had to bid farewell to everyone, my family. It was COVID time, so I couldn't really see anyone, which was a bit sad. But yeah, that was essentially it. Yeah, got on the plane and yeah, came here. So guys, that is essentially the entire story of how I ended up here. So basically, that is my story. That is how I came to the UK from Zimbabwe, straight from like my thought processes and everything, up until I boarded the plane on the 7th of January, coming here, you know, and I've been here for 6 months now. So if you are intending on looking for a job abroad, I think you can get some useful tips here. If you've got any other specific questions that I can answer, you can reach me on LinkedIn, and follow me on Instagram for any, you know, just things about life in general. Yeah, guys, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. So we're now going on to the next milestone of 500 subscribers. I hope I've answered all your questions, because there's been lots of questions about how I came here, how I got the job, and I hope that now you're satisfied. So yeah, guys, until next time, bye.